All right. So we are here for Intuitive Eating 101. This is one of my favorite topics. Welcome. I am glad you're here to talk about what I think is a very, very important topic when it comes to eating and our bodies. Next, Isabel. So I'm going to start right off with a question. And again, this is a touchy, feely sort of education session today. And I'm going to ask you to get a little bit vulnerable. And if you want to answer, please do. And if you don't, that's fine too. But I would like to know in the chat, on most days, how do you feel about your body? It can be one word, it can be multiple words. How do you feel about your body on most days? And I'll give people a chance to respond to that. Isabel's first. She's one of our staff. She said depends on the day. Linda says blah. Fair. Annoyance. I get that sometimes. Yeah, I get that. Annoyance. I think that's funny. All right. Well, keep thinking about it. Depends on the day. Some are good and other. What happened? I need to exercise more. Oh, Mary, I love that you said that. We're going to talk about this in the context of intuitive eating a lot more today. So thanks for putting that out in the universe for us. All right, Isabel, let's go to the next one. So to set the stage for today, I want to remind everybody that every body changes and that our bodies are meant to change throughout our life, and they will change. I'm 63 years old. My body has changed multiple times. It has grown and it has shrunk, and it has grown and it has shrunk. And this is normal. Life is always changing. Bodies are always changing. With puberty, maturation, pregnancy, illness, surgery, stress, and age, our bodies change. Next. So you don't have to answer this in the chat, but just philosophically speaking, ask yourself, do you give yourself permission to love your body? And I want people to think about, how did you talk to your body yesterday or today? Did you affirm, your body and give it some positive feedback, or did you criticize yourself? We live in a world where people are constantly criticizing their bodies, and that's what we're going to talk about next. And I love this beautiful picture. It says, I'm grateful for my body. I'm confident in my skin. My body serves me well. I am more than my body. I will not compare myself. All right, next. Oh, somebody said, I said, wow, I look good today and love me. I like that. Did somebody else want to say something?
I was just about to lift that up from the chat.
Yeah, I like that. All right, next slide as well. All right, so I just real quick, at what age did you feel best about your body? And I don't know, since I've only got a few people with their camera on here, and I don't ever try to guess people's age, you can run into trouble doing that. What age do you think you felt best about your body? Isabel says 18, somebody says 40, somebody says 18. 25. These are pretty young ages, right? People are saying now, Linda says. Congratulations. Camille says 50. Okay, great. Now it's 58. Okay, nice. Nice. So think about that. So what we're going to cover for the next 50 minutes is we're going to talk about diet culture, mindful eating, intuitive eating, gentle nutrition, and body neutrality. We're going to talk about 10 principles of intuitive eating. And I will tell you right now, you will not walk away from this class an intuitive eater, but you will be able to explore more about intuitive eating and to start practicing some things that may have in the past held you back from healthy eating. And I hope everybody at the end makes a plan to do one thing that they learned in this session to explore more about or practice mindful or intuitive eating. All right, Isabel, next. Okay, so look at this picture here. You don't have to read all these words, but what I want you to think about is that every day we're exposed to diet culture. And diet culture is, have you ever gone on a diet where you restricted carbohydrates or fats or ate only allowables? Have you ever labeled a food as good or bad or a guilty pleasure? Have you ever wondered why you were hungrier than usual and criticized yourself? Said to yourself, I'm so hungry today. Why am I so hungry today? I shouldn't be hungry. Have you ever passed up a food at the grocery store because you can't, quote, trust yourself with it? Have you ever looked in the mirror and criticized yourself for not fitting into the American ideal for a healthy body? All of this is part of diet culture. So just type in the chat. Isabel, flip to the next slide for a second. Okay, flip into the chat if you have ever done any of those things on that prior slide. Have you ever felt yes or no? Have you ever felt like you've been a victim to some diet culture related beliefs? I know I have. I would type a yes in there for me. More times than I can count. Thank you for being honest. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of honesty coming here. It's impossible to avoid diet culture, especially in the US. It is everywhere. And it's a system of beliefs that equate thinness and muscularity and particular body shapes with health and sadly moral value. It promotes weight loss and body reshaping as a means of attaining a higher status. It demonizes foods and food groups by elevating others. And it oppresses people who don't match the ideal picture of health. Penny says, yes, and this week didn't buy something because I knew I'd eat the whole box. We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. So yes, you can't live in America and not be influenced by diet culture. So what I'm hoping today is that you walk away recognizing that we're all influenced by diet culture, and that you start to question some of those diet culture beliefs. And on the bottom of this slide, you'll see the source, Christy Harrison. She has an amazing blog, or not blog, podcast, and she's written several books about diet culture. And if you're a podcaster, I suggest you look her up. She's got some really great sessions on diet culture. So, okay, Isabel, next, please. So how to spot diet culture before we get into intuitive eating. And I'm looking, somebody wrote in the chat, I've got the chat over here on the screen. I love to bake, but I don't do it as much anymore to keep myself from eating it. Thank you, Linda, for being so honest and vulnerable. Yes, we're going to talk about those things. So yeah, I get that. I totally get that. So how to spot diet culture, sneaky words for dieting, like clean eating, detox, reset, tracking your food and calories all the time. I will bet that somebody in this group is tracking food and calories, and somebody is using either Lose It or MyFitnessPal. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with those things. Everyone has their own methods of keeping their bodies healthy, but I'm just asking you to tune into how that might not be serving you. Joy less movement, not joyful movement. I know I've done joy less movement. I've taken classes where I've sat in, done an exercise class and thought, I hate this. This is awful. And I would keep doing it. And why? Our movement should be joyful. Food rules, lots of food rules, restrictive eating, can't eat this, can't eat that, only these kind of fats, no carbs, only these kind of proteins. Food rules are a part of diet culture. Labeling foods as good or bad, clean or not, that's diet culture. And focusing on a particular body weight, shape, or size is diet culture. So just watch how much diet culture crops up in your day today and for the rest of the week. All right, Isabel, next. So what is a current diet culture trend you've heard about? All right, I want to hear from you in the chat. A diet culture trend. You got any friends or family members or maybe even yourself that are following a diet culture trend based on what was on the previous slide? Maybe some food rules, maybe some punishing exercise, maybe some clean or unclean parameters. Isabel said beach body. Yep, that is one. And I'll give you a bit. I know it takes a bit to respond. Yep. Somebody else said intermittent fasting, very popular now. That's a definite diet culture trend. Anybody else in the group? Ads on TV. This works better. No, that works better. Yeah, that's exactly how it is, Penny. This, no that, no this, no that. No carb, low carb, 100%. I would say that's probably the most common. So yeah, a lot of different Herbalife. Yes, a lot of different diet culture trends. So I'm encouraging you to just be aware that these trends are out there. These trends are out there for a reason, or to make us feel guilty about the bodies that we have, and to encourage us often to try something that's going to cost us time or money or be very restrictive. So just keep your eye out for some of these trends. All right, let's keep going, Isabel. On to intuitive eating. So how is intuitive eating different from diet culture? Intuitive eating focuses on listening to our own body cues. We're going to talk about 10 principles of how to do that. Ties body and mind together and creates an all foods fit approach. Fosters awareness, promotes awareness of your own body, your thoughts, and what's around you. And honors healthy eating based on the direct messages of the body, not the scale. And the intent is to meet our physical and psychological needs. Food is not all about physical. So many people, when they get into a diet culture mindset, believe I just need to eat for fuel. But we don't eat just for fuel. We eat for celebration, and we eat for many other reasons. And it's not just about getting the right amount of carbs, fat, and protein. We eat for enjoyment. We use food in our daily lives to love our families, and it shouldn't just be about your physical need. All right. So where did this whole concept come from? I have to give credit to the 2 dietitians that started intuitive eating. Actually, many years ago, quite a few years ago, they updated their book. This is the new version. I think it's been around 20 years, the concept of intuitive eating. I'd have to go back and look at the exact date, but it was started by 2 registered dietitians, and they wrote the first book on intuitive eating, and they continue to update it. And if you are interested in buying a book on intuitive eating, you can buy this on Amazon. Again, it's written by 2 dietitians that promote an anti-diet approach to eating healthfully. All right. So before we move into intuitive eating, let's talk a little bit about sort of the difference, what mindful eating, because those terms can be confused sometimes. Eating mindfully is a really great first step. It's trying to be present in your food, your meal, and your eating experience. And it's a component of intuitive eating. And I want to add in parentheses there, it's hard. It's hard to do these things because sometimes we eat so quickly. Maybe we're eating, maybe we have a 15-minute lunch and we're like, okay, I've just got to drill this sandwich and get something to drink and then get back to work. Or we're distracted. Mindful eating is all about slowing down, being aware of what you're eating, tasting your food, trying to stay in the moment, and not judging. So think about if you could do any of these things, to eat more mindfully, to savor, to observe, to be in the moment, to be aware, and to not judge. All right, Isabel, next one. So intuitive versus mindful. Mindful eating on the right here minimizes distractions while dining, turning off the TV, paying attention to sights, sounds, smells, your food experience, and eating slowly, chewing thoroughly. Intuitive eating rejects diet culture, honors appetite, and encourages bodily respect. You have to be careful with mindful eating because there's a lot of diet culture out there that promotes what they call mindful eating. And the goal is always to get you to restrict and to eat less. So be careful what you read and what you see when you're looking at these 2 different sort of types of eating. All right. Does anybody practice any of those mindful eating things? Does anybody in their daily eating try to savor their food or slow down or not make judgments about their food. If you have a particular way that you feel like you eat more mindfully, Mary says yes, she tries to. It could be hard. I'm not very good at it at lunchtime. I'm always rushing at lunch. And then I say, what did I even eat? Somebody else says, I've been trying to chew slowly and eat slowly. Yeah, it takes a while for our bodies to register that we're full. So when we eat fast, which I'm guilty of at lunch, I think like, oh, am I still hungry? I don't know, because I ate that in like 5 minutes. So yeah, that's a great practice. Eat at my desk, so that's not helpful to being mindful. Linda, I hear you. Yeah, I do too. I eat at my desk a lot. Try not to. I was doing it and didn't even know it, or that there was a name for it. Okay, good. That's good. All right, so she was already mindful eating. All right, so let's go to our 10 principles of intuitive eating. One is let diets go. This is hard. And I bet you everybody on this call, even the youngest person on this call, has been on a diet. And when I say diet, I'm talking about weight loss diet. I'm not talking about a diabetic diet. If you have diabetes, if you're someone with diabetes, you are following a prescribed diet. I'm talking about a weight loss restrictive diet. It's hard. Many people have spent more years dieting than not dieting. And I know a lot of people like that. Evaluate your worth. And this is hard too, to internalize. Your worth has nothing to do with your size. A principle of intuitive eating is basically that your body should be the least interesting thing about you. The least interesting thing about you. You have so much more worth than what your body. And to shift your focus, remove diet culture, social media, emails, magazines, diet groups, books, etc. from your life. So how to reject diet mentality, let diets go. 95% of weight loss diets fail, 95%. Evaluate your worth, shift your focus, get rid of diet culture, magazines, books, media, all of those things. Again, this is hard for people and it's not for everybody. And obey your hunger. Eat at the first signs of hunger. Learn to trust your instincts and eat before you reach an excessive hunger that pushes you to overeat. A lot of us say, I shouldn't be hungry. It's 9 o'clock. Why am I hungry? I can't eat. But when your body is way smarter. I love this graphic. Your body is smarter than your mind. If it's telling you you're hungry and you're not thirsty, sometimes we mix up hunger and thirst, right? But if you're truly getting hunger signals, listen to it. It's telling you to eat. Another way to obey your hunger is to keep your body fueled with energy providing foods. A lot of times we're like, oh, I'm hungry, but I'm only gonna have an apple. And maybe my body is saying, but I really want a handful of cashews. So listen to your body, keep your body fueled with energy providing foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, all sorts of foods fit at one time or another. And then I skipped one. All intentions of conscious eating are thrown out the window when severe hunger kicks in. If you let yourself get too hungry, you're not going to eat consciously. So eating 3 meals and a couple snacks a day is really the best way to fuel your body and obey your hunger. All right, Isabel. Next one. Make peace with food. Learn to tell yourself and to live by this. Hunger and food are not your enemy. Give yourself permission to eat anything. And when I say that, I do mean anything. Feelings of deprivation can lead to craving and binging. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. So when I say eat anything, I don't mean if I feel like 40 Oreos, I'm going to eat 40 Oreos. But when we deprive ourselves for a really long time, that's how we eat. And that's how we're craving. So if you want to have some cookies in the house, or maybe you like caramels, or maybe you just love to get an eggnog latte, you know, those are foods that you should include in your diet in moderation, right? Not all the time, not every day, in large amounts, but if you trust your body to tell yourself what it wants and you allow yourself, you'll find that there isn't such a struggle between, "Oh, I really want this, but I'm not a person that eats cookies," or "I'm not a person that eats high fat drinks," or "I never eat hamburgers or sandwiches or bread." If you make peace with food, you'll find that you'll start craving things less, and you'll develop a more moderate diet. Does anybody have any, Isabel, do I have a chat slide on the net? What's the next slide? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I want to ask this. So after this 10-minute conversation about the principles, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being extremely hungry, check in with yourself. How hungry are you now? Are you a 1? Are you a 2? Are you a 3? Are you a 10? And I'm a 6. And somebody's a 1, and somebody's a 5, and somebody's a 2. 5, but I haven't eaten breakfast yet. 3, a 3. So this is a mindful eating practice, checking in with yourself and seeing and asking yourself, how hungry am I? Do I need food? Do I need water? Do I need, something for emotional, psychological reason? So checking in with yourself is important. All right, let's go to the next. Challenge the food police. And I don't mean a person, I mean the idea that when I eat this way, I'm a good human, and when I eat that way, I'm a bad human. And these foods are good, and these foods are all bad. Food is just food. It's not good or bad, it's all fuel. All food, even the lowest quality food, is going to provide you with some energy and some calorie content. And having black and white thinking, good and bad about food, can really lead to a lot of restrictive eating, which can then lead you to overeating some things, and also to just not enjoying food and not enjoying mealtime or the foods that you provide for yourself. So you're not good or bad for eating less healthy foods sometimes. Can people relate to this? I'm being a good human, I ate an apple. I'm being a bad human, I ate fries. Don't have to tell me in the chat, but people feel like this all the time, right? We're in holiday season. People are already thinking about Thanksgiving. People are already saying, I'm going to cut my food intake because I know I'm going to overeat on Thursday, or I don't know, we're going to have 3 kinds of pie. Should I eat that? Check yourself. Our diet culture rules setting limits on what foods you can enjoy. Now, remember, I said this intuitive eating is a permission to get rid of all the fruits and vegetables and just go wild eating less healthy foods. It's permission to enjoy all foods at some time. All right, next slide, Isabel. Discover satisfaction. Tune into what you want and need. Enjoy your food. Match your meals and snacks to your cravings. I said, I gave the example of, I want to eat a healthy snack, so I'm going to eat an apple, but I really want nuts. Eat the nuts. Or today, I don't want a healthy snack. I'm going to be just fine with 2 Oreos. That's okay. That's okay. Match your meals and snacks to your cravings. Practice gentle nutrition. We have a slide on this later, so I'm not going to get into it right now, but I do want you to know that Colleen Christensen, this person listed on this slide, has a fabulous Instagram, if anybody's on Instagram. And she also has a fabulous online website where she really teaches people how to start with intuitive eating and gentle nutrition. She's a registered dietitian. She's funny. She has a lot of funny videos, if you're on Instagram, that show different diet culture beliefs. So she's a really interesting person. All right, let's keep going, Isabel. So I want to know, we were just talking about snacks, and I said 2 Oreos because I have Oreos in my cupboard, and I do eat 2 Oreos once a week for a snack, and I don't feel bad about it. So what kind of snacks do you crave, sweet or salty? What kind of snacks do people like? Type that in the chat. Or both, right? All of them. I like that. Yeah, I do. It just depends, right? Sometimes both. It's a good combo. Both. Yeah. So again, no good foods, no bad foods. Fruit is sweet. That, I mean, some people just like eating fruit for snack, but so are Oreos sweet. There is no good or bad. Should I eat Oreos every day? Probably not if I want to age healthfully, but that's gentle nutrition. That's practicing intuitive eating and also telling yourself, yes, but I do need to make sure, I should make sure that I'm eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and getting the right amount of fiber and things like that. So sweet and salty, yeah, those are common snacks. All right, so feel your fullness. Tune into your body. Use those mindful eating practices to notice when you're full. The other principle is that this is very hard for people. Every day is not the same. We all have hungry days, especially women, and when we're different times of our cycle. I don't have a cycle anymore, but I did. And sometimes during your cycle, your menstrual cycle, you might be hungrier than other days, but beyond, even for men, we all have hungry days. Remember the slide about listen to your body. That's your body telling you, today I need more fuel. I need more today. We don't have to eat the same amount of calories every single day. Our bodies aren't built like that. All right, Isabel. Cope with your emotions with kindness. So a lot of us eat for emotional reasons. So this is really telling us to just experience your emotions. Don't block your emotions with food, or don't restrict food to achieve a certain emotion or to damper down a certain emotion. Food restriction can lead to loss of control and emotional eating. Find healthful ways to comfort yourself and remind yourself that feelings and emotions are normal. So a part of intuitive eating is really noticing your emotions and trying to move the connection from your emotions to always what's on your plate or what's not on your plate. Respect your body. Stop comparing. Accept your genetics. Really hard for people. My dad was 5'6". My mother was 5 foot. All of the women in my family are curvy. I'm not going to have the American ideal body. I'm not, which when I say that, I don't mean what I think is ideal. I mean what diet culture tells us is ideal, which is 5'10" and 105 pounds. Not going to get that. Don't have any friends that look like that. I don't have any workmates that look like that. I can't name a person in South Haven like that. But diet culture tells us that that is the norm. So stop the negative self-talk. Appreciate your body for what it does for you. And this can be tough, especially if you're struggling with like a physical ailment. Right now, I have a torn Achilles tendon, and it's hard to appreciate my body because I feel like it's not doing what I want it to do. It wants to be out walking the dog, but instead, every time I go an eighth of a mile, it starts hurting again. But my body does do other things, right? It's keeping me upright. It's allowing me to go out and go shopping with friends. And it's allowing me to do some gentle chair yoga right now or do some weightlifting. So appreciate your body for what it does for you. Walking, running, dancing, fueling your mind, all of the other things. If you're struggling, focus on body neutrality. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So hold that thought. And remember that all bodies deserve dignity. Your body is the least interesting thing about you. Remember that. Okay. And so what is one thing you like about your body or respect about your body today? This is tough. So what is one thing you like about your body today? I got to put my own in too. I love it. Linda says she's stronger than she's ever been. Your hair. Yeah. My hair is pretty good today too. It's not very frizzy, and it usually is. I like that it allows me to dance. I like that it allows me to drink coffee. Yeah, Isabel, right. Healthy, Mary wrote. I want to know, let's see. Healthy, all right. Anybody else? I'm going to give a couple. This is hard, right? It's not an easy, we don't automatically say, oh, I love this about my body. We're not trained to love our bodies. We're influenced by the media to dislike our bodies. So we will buy the hair products, and we will buy the makeup, and we will buy the Spanx, and we will buy the newest workout wear and all of those things. So that I can move and have all my parts. Yeah, I like that, Mary. And as I said, I don't feel like I have my parts, all my parts right now because of my ankle, but I do have all my parts. They're just not all working right. So yeah, very good. Very good. All right, Isabel. So number 9, principle of intuitive eating, move your body, feel the difference. So this movement should be joyful. It should be something that you like. And when I was talking about my experience before, I was taking a class, and my office is in the Bronson Health Center, and they have lots of different exercise classes, and everybody likes a different type of class, right? People like Zumba, and people like weightlifting. And I got into a class that was really, really hard, and I can't even remember the name of it. But during the whole time, I was thinking, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And it was like way higher than what my body could do. And I was hurting throwing this weighted ball. And I just thought, like, no, like I don't enjoy this. So exercise should not be punishment. It should be something that you enjoy. Moving your body should be something you should enjoy. Do what you like and check out new things. You might not like something the first time, but as you get better at it, you might like it a little more. But if you absolutely don't like it, try something else. Shift your focus to how you feel, not on counting how many calories you burn or looks. And most importantly, you don't need to earn your food. You don't need to connect calories in with exercise out. I mean, everyone does that to some degree, but people also a lot of times think, well, I didn't exercise today, so I better eat a lighter dinner. No, not really. Your body still wants that same size dinner. So you don't need to earn your food. Think about that. Joyful movement centers pleasure. It's not a moral obligation. It emphasizes embodiment and promotes physical and mental health. So think about just moving your body. Bottom line there is ways you enjoy. It's good for us. I mean, exercise, moving your body, we all need to move our bodies. It doesn't just make us look better. It increases our metabolism. It helps stabilize our blood sugar. It helps stabilize our blood pressure. Improves our mental health. So yes, we all should move, but find a way that you enjoy. All right, Isabel, number 10. Honor your health with gentle nutrition. Same graphic as before, because I want you to check out some, if you get time, check out Colleen Christensen. Very interesting information on her website and on her Instagram about gentle nutrition. And what gentle nutrition is, it's not restrictive. And it does not mean, it also doesn't mean eat whatever. It doesn't mean go whole hog with eating, oh, well, she said eat whatever I want. So I'm going to have a pound of bacon for breakfast, and I'm going to have 2 double cheeseburgers for lunch, and I'm going to have, something else for dinner. Yes, you can do all of that, but think about gentle nutrition is saying, yeah, I am craving a cheeseburger, but I also know that my body needs fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to make sure that when I get that McDonald's cheeseburger, I've got a side salad. Or I'm going to make sure, like when I eat that bacon, that I know that it's high fat, and I'm going to balance it with other healthy foods. So be thinking about looking gently, making sure that you are thinking about nutrition, but not in a restrictive way. There's no perfect diet or meal plan. It's what you eat consistently over time. I had a day earlier this week where my stomach didn't feel good. And I love potatoes, and I ate 2 potatoes. And that's what I had for lunch, 2 baked potatoes. Now, would I eat 2 baked potatoes every day? No, there's nothing wrong with potatoes, but I don't want 2 potatoes every day. But that day I did, which people that are very into restricting carbs would think that that is absolutely unheard of and awful. So again, it's consistently what you eat over time, a variety of healthy foods, some less healthy foods with these general nutrition concepts. All right, next, Isabel. So how do I start being more of an intuitive eater? First step, tune in, notice diet culture around you. What are people saying about their own body or food habits? Get curious. And when people are in conversation with you, ask them, why are you doing that? And, I'm not saying criticize, I'm just saying ask and start noticing. Notice signs, notice magazines, notice TV advertisements, and how they encourage diet culture that you learned about earlier. Get to know your body. We talked about this. Check in with yourself every 2 hours. How do I feel? Do I feel like I need to get up and move? Probably, if you have a desk job. Are you feeling hunger or an emotion? Maybe I need to take care of myself emotionally. Maybe I need to do some deep breathing. Maybe I need to have a snack. Get to know what your body is telling you. Make a list. This is really interesting one, I think. Make a list of foods you really liked in the past, but have avoided due to dietary restrictions. Eat one of those foods once a week. So this is what that would look like. So when I really started looking at how much I was influenced by diet culture, I realized that there were foods that I had been restricting for years that I actually liked. And when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, like you liked that food. And for me, one of them was Alfredo sauce. So when I was younger, I loved fettuccine Alfredo. And then I sort of got older and got into the diet culture movement. And I was like, I'm not eating that. That's butter and that's cheese and that's cream. And like, I don't need any of that. So for years, I told myself, you don't like that. Like, you don't like sauce. But then when I did this and got curious about this, and I think I learned this on somebody's podcast, I started thinking, yeah, why don't you eat Alfredo sauce? And it was a rule that I set up in my own head that I didn't need to follow. There's nothing wrong with eating Alfredo sauce once in a while. So think about what foods you may have avoided and try to gently put some of them, if you miss them, back into your diet. Eat regularly. How do you feel if you eat every 3 to 4 hours? We feel better. So eat regularly. Fasting, trying to eat 1 time a day, skipping breakfast so we eat a bigger lunch. All of those things aren't ideal for your body. Your body, most bodies, not all bodies, most bodies want fuel every 3 to 4 hours of some kind. So learn to trust yourself. We've said this 3 times in this presentation. Your body will tell you what it needs. And then practice body neutrality. And we're going to talk about that next. Okay, not next, but yeah. So back to what we were talking about. Nope, go to the next one, Isabel. Yeah. So on that previous slide, I talked about Alfredo sauce. Is anybody else willing to share a food that they've avoided due to diet culture in the past? And while you're thinking about that, Isabel did type in, I think, a really important comment. When we were talking about exercise, all types of movement count. You don't have to go to a gym or run a marathon. Thank you, Isabel. That's so true. Hiking, swimming, dancing, walking, ice skate, rock climb, walk your dog, do some chair yoga, do some regular yoga, take breaks during TV watching. All of these things count. And the goal is the minimum of 30 minutes a day. If you can get there, well, it's 150 minutes a week. So it's about 30 minutes a day. But if you're not exercising at all, start small. Just start somewhere. All right, so let's move down to these body culture comments. Mary says, or diet culture. I am eating the healthy grilled cheese sandwiches that you did with the homemade tomato soup, which by the way, now everyone else loves too. Yeah, isn't the tomato soup good? It's a good day for it. Thanks, Mary, for saying that. So chocolate and pasta. Yep. Some people, I don't know what it is about pasta. I'm Italian, so this is a double insult. But yeah, people don't, pasta is pasta. It's the same as it's basically the same ingredients as bread. It's the same ingredients as crackers. It's a carb. And yes, it provides fuel. Carbohydrates provide fuel. M Coffee and M, I don't know your first name. I want to call you Mary, but I don't know if your name is Mary or what your first name is. But thank you for all your great comments you're putting in the chat. Says donuts, hot dogs, candy bars, pasta. Great. So again, I'm not saying to Michelle. Okay, I'm not saying to Michelle, yeah, okay, so today I want you to eat donuts. I want you to go out and I want you to eat a donut, a hot dog, a candy bar, pasta for lunch. Get them all in there. I'm just saying, start exploring why you haven't allowed yourself those foods and letting yourself add those back into your diet. Now, do I want to have 2-3 donuts a day? No. If you've been restricting 2-3 donuts for years, you might start that way, because the whole idea is when we restrict food, we end up setting it up sort of on this pedestal where we're like, donuts are the best thing ever. And if I ever get a chance to eat a donut, I'm going to eat 5 of them. And I'm going to do that. But I guarantee you, if you ate 3 donuts a day for the next 10 days, you would be sick of donuts and you'd stop eating 3 donuts a day. That's usually how it works. So yes, carefully put some of those foods that you enjoyed back into your diet. Linda says French fries. Yeah, I love French fries. Don't eat them that often, but I do like them. They got to be hot and they got to be crispy, and for me, they got to have salt on them. But yeah. So again, think about that and think about why you're avoiding it. Like, what is going on in your head that tells you can never have fries, or you can never have a hot dog, or you can't eat pasta, because you can eat those things in moderation in a healthy diet. All right, Isabel, next one. So back to this topic of body neutrality. So body neutrality is a first step. So if people have been exposed to diet culture for years, and we all have, it's hard to go from I hate my body to I love my body. That's a very big switch. The concept of body neutrality is to get in the middle. Rather than focusing on your physical appearance, body neutrality is the idea that we can exist without diet culture and without thinking about our bodies as good or bad. Just get neutral about it. It's a really good first step. Reminding yourself that we're more than just our bodies. We're emotions and we're feelings, and we have so many other things going on inside of ourselves that has nothing to do with our body. And moving to a neutral place like that de-emphasizes appearance and encourages you to appreciate your bodies for what they do and not what they look like. So try to be kind to your body and start thinking about things like, my body allowed me to get out of bed today. Thanks to my body, I'm able to have a conversation with someone I love. My body allows me to move in ways that bring me joy. Try to move toward neutrality. It's hard to get to self-love and body positivity. It's very hard for us all to get there. So start moving to a new neutral place. All right. So I want to know this, because my answer to this is yes. Did you ever notice, do you feel neutral about your body someday, and some days you're like, I just don't like my body? Is that common? Yes or no? Or do you feel pretty much the same? And yes, Isabel, I got the time. We're almost done. Mary says, yes, she does feel neutral about her body some days, and some days not so much. Yes, normal human. Yeah, right? We're going to feel, and sometimes it has to do with what we wear, right? Sometimes we wear something and we're like, I like myself in these pants. I like the sweater. I look good in this color. I feel good. And some days it's like, no, I don't like this. My jeans are feeling really tight today and I don't like the way that feels. And that doesn't make me feel very good about my body. So yeah, Michelle says she usually does not like her body. Yeah, so try to get to that neutral place with your body about thinking about all the things your body does for you. All right, Isabel. So I'm not going to read through these. These are the 10 things we just talked about. And if you start Googling around intuitive eating, you will see a lot of different graphics, a lot of different posters, a lot of different charts. But these are the 10 principles that came from the 2 dietitians who developed intuitive eating. You'll see them worded a little bit differently by depending on who's interpreting it and what they're saying. But think about these 10 principles and try to think about 1 or 2 you can start putting into practice. Intuitive eating doesn't happen overnight. You will not walk out of here today being an intuitive eater, but you will walk out of here questioning diet culture, trying to eat more mindfully, and thinking about practicing some of these principles. All right, Isabel. So our goal was to cover diet culture, mindful eating, intuitive eating, gentle nutrition, which is just reminding that's not casting everything aside and saying, I'm going to eat all these foods that I've considered less healthy and not think about nutrition. It's eating what you want and also thinking about nutrition. We just talked about body neutrality. We discussed the 10 principles. And I want people to be thinking about what might you do from this session? What is one thing you might try to do or try to practice? So next slide, Isabel. So does anybody have one thing that they might do? And would they type that into the chat? One thing you might do differently as a result of what you learned today. Not eat in front of the TV, exercise and move more. Joyfully, mindfully, yes. Try a food I've been avoiding due to the trend. Yeah, I like that, Mary. The trend, yeah. Move my body in fun ways. I might see if my dad wants to tap into his childhood and go sledding. Yeah, that sounds good, Isabel. I have not been on a sled in a lot of years. I'm going to have to admit that one. So, all right. Well, the last thing I'd like people to do, Isabel, if you can flip to the next slide. We have a survey and it will literally take you less than 2 minutes. I said 3 minutes, but I took it myself and it took me about 30 seconds. That we'd love you to complete. Isabel's going to put the link in the chat. We'd like you to complete it before you leave today. When you complete the survey, it helps us to have a count of people who attended the class. It helps us learn more about what you want to learn more about. And it helps us better understand if we're on the right track with health education. And it helps support us in justifying free health programs like this. So if you wouldn't mind clicking on that blue link in the chat that Isabel just put in there and filling out our survey, we would really, really appreciate it. And again, it should take 1 or 2 minutes. And while you're all doing that, we can just hang out, or if anybody has any questions, we can do that too. And it should take, again, just a couple minutes to fill that out. And I'll just pause here and let you do that. And Isabel, while people are doing that, what's our next upcoming class? Oh, probably not till January now, right?
Yeah, I think we are starting our next classes in January. I'm thinking about our schedule. I'm pretty sure January is the next class.
Yeah, we've learned over the years to stay away from the holidays. People tend to not come as often. So but look
wait, no,
online.
there is one more. You have your squash soup, cooking with Bronson squash soup.
Yes, that's right. That's next week. And that, or right after Thanksgiving. And that's up on the Bronson website. So it's an easy butternut squash soup, really easy. If you like to come to virtual healthy cooking classes, check it out at the bronsonhealth.com classes link or website. Oh, yep, Isabel put the link in there. And I want to thank everybody for coming. It was really nice talking to you. Thanks for participating in the chat. I hope you take away something. Again, we talked about a pretty controversial topic today, and you know, you're going to walk out of here and you're going to hear the exact opposite from friends that will continue to support diet culture. And my hopes is that you challenge that just a little bit. So thanks for being here, and hope to see you soon at another class. Linda is asking, is there a way to find the slide